Good evening and welcome to Success in the City. My name's Helen Webster. I'm with the lovely
Sandra Scott, and our fabulous and definitely inspirational guest today is the lovely
Miguel Doforo.
Welcome, Miguel. Thank you so much for coming on. And you're one of the very, very, very rare people who's been on twice now.
Feel privileged.
That's because you've got a lot, you've got some really cool stuff going on that we wanted to share. And I think it's really important. And your story's fabulous as well. And there's a lot of people who'll see this who haven't seen you last time you were on. So there we go.
Thank you.
Yeah, 100%. So yeah, massive thank you for coming on for a second time. And it's going to be like that exciting finding out where you were and where you are and everything. Because I think I was looking at my little book. It wasn't like last. I think it might have been during lockdown. I think it might have actually been when we were locked.
It was on.
So yeah, so it could be like a good 18 months. So yeah, happy days. Thank you very much for giving your time up. So first we start off with shout out to the kids, any little people doing amazing things. So I'm just going to go first because the kids are on half term.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to do a general shout out to all the little people who are on half term, who are going to all of the little clubs and things that are available, because there's amazing people doing amazing things out there with lots of little clubs and crafts and all sorts of things like that and sports. So big shout out to all the kids going to all the little clubs. What about you, San?
Well, I'm going to give a shout out because I've just taught Miley, who's hilarious, and her sister couldn't come on, so she had an extra lesson. So she actually does 2 half-hour sessions with me, English and Spanish, and she's just had another half hour because her mum said she could because she was enjoying it. Anyway, she said in English, do you know what she said? It doesn't matter if someone hasn't got a Valentine, because they can have, what did she call it? A galantine or a palantine, which I'd never heard of. She had to do a newspaper article for school, and she had to take one point of view but have a balanced argument. So she said and I said, sorry, what's that? A galantine. And I was like that. Oh, and I thought, how cool is that? I just thought it was ace. So palantine, and I said, I give you a shout out all the time. So I said, I'm going to give you a shout out today. So palantines, shout out to all the palantines and galantines, which I just love. So there we go.
Yeah, I saw that on somebody's posted, put something out saying gallant, like happy Galentine.
Yeah.
And I thought that's quite cool, isn't it? So yeah.
Fantastic.
Amazing.
Brilliant.
Who are you shouting out to, Miguel?
So young people, I'll say my nieces and nephews, they're all working super, super hard. Obviously my youngest one, she's like so young right now, my youngest niece, but my nieces and nephews are working so hard on their own goals. But outside of my own family, I would say all the young people I'm working with at the minute, they've been like a light in my life. There's so many from many projects who individually name each one of them, so to not leave any of them out, they have, over the last couple of weeks, they've been a huge inspiration to me. So I'm sure all of them young people, if they're listening, they'll know I'm talking to them because they're who I've just been working with.
Fantastic.
Amazing. It's lovely when you work with loads of like dead cool young people, because they give you like a massive buzz, don't they?
Oh, mine have been a whole life. They're just incredible. We've been on a lovely little journey for the last few weeks.
Brilliant. And we'll find out a little bit more about that when we go along. Yeah, we'll find out a little bit more. So the first thing we do is our success personally for this week. Something amazing that's happened to you this week. So do you want to go first, San?
Yeah, go on. So I've had a few things, but I was very, very excited today because, and everyone needs to know this, the Victoria Museum, which is a small museum, which is the original red brick building of the University of Liverpool on Brownlow Hill, is free to go in and have a look. They've got a cafe downstairs, but they've got galleries and stuff. It's just a nice chilled out place. They do a free proper guided tour every Tuesday at 2:00. You just buy tickets online, or it's free actually. You just sign up online. So I took one of my clients today who's learning English, and her English just come on so much. And we went round, and she said, and she's dead into architecture. And I went to that uni. There was loads of stuff I didn't have a clue about it. It was so interesting. So that's, if you've got a guest coming to the city, family or whatever, it's a really cool place. You know, I take all these ones who do English with us, I take them everywhere, but we do some quite quirky, interesting things. But there's loads of cool stuff you can do. So it's on the Liverpool University website, or if you just go on Eventbrite Victoria Museum every Tuesday, 2:00, and it's all done by volunteers who were so knowledgeable. It was fantastic. And just one dead quick thing, all the business people in the city funded that uni. And it was a college because the business people wanted everyone to be able to access it. And even in 1907, they were going out and about with a mobile library attached to a bicycle, and there were people, the students, they got them to teach local people to read and write who couldn't. And that, for me, so people think the uni is sort of like, it's not. It's all about outreach, and it's very, very typical for business people and educated people in the city to want to spread it wider and help everyone achieve. And I just thought, how cool is that? So it was brilliant, and I loved it. It was a great afternoon.
That's brilliant. We need to put the link of that on the show, because it's such a cool thing, isn't it?
I will do. I just said, and there was only me and my guest there. That was it on the tour, the two of us.
So like a private tour?
It was amazing, absolutely. And of course, she just loved it. So there we go.
Brilliant. Amazing. I'm just writing my last this or that. While I remember.
What about you? What was your success hell this week?
Well, I've got two, so I'm just gonna. Sorry for the people who are listening and can't see, but if you can notice me daffodils. So these daffodils were from last Monday's event. Our Success in the City, and Book of Flowers donated them, and everybody got one to take home. And so I think I'm well winning the race. And my amaryllis is just like phenomenal, but it's too big to carry over here.
That's
like
amazing.
It's amazing. So I'm dead proud, because I normally kill everything. So
well done, but you don't now.
No. And my other massive success is that on Saturday we went out for Charlie's birthday, and we went out at 1:00. Got home about 12, and I didn't have a hangover on Sunday.
Oh, did you drive?
No, we drank all and I got a tattoo, didn't I? Got a tattoo.
A fake one.
Yeah, one of them little transfer kids ones, and I put it on. I woke up and I thought, why have I got a tattoo?
And your Bezzy, Rachel, is friends with my friend who I was at uni at, did the teacher training, because she commented, and I went Small World, and Rachel, we were at school together. And Gemma's at Chile work, and it's just mental. Yeah.
Everybody knows everyone, don't they? So yeah, so it was a good success, because we haven't been out, like the four of us, for ages, like just out, yeah, with all of us for ages.
Lovely.
Yeah. So there you go. Miguel, what's your success this week?
So I'll probably say two then as well. I'll be greedy. So I think the first one is, getting up every morning. I was normally a morning person, and then I think with recent struggles that was difficult, and I've been able to get back into the swing of getting up of a morning, so I'm really pleased with that. And then also we just completed on a couple of projects, so I've been working on the Now Festival in Liverpool. It's been great to be back in Liverpool working with some young people, and we completed on that, and a project in Skem with an amazing school called Elm Tree, and we've seen their project come to life. So it was amazing to do those things. My other so my child, here he is. He's trying to joke. Come say hi to everyone. When I sit here, he wants to come and say hi to everyone.
What's his name?
He's MJ.
Oh, MJ. Oh. So for people listening, we've just seen a lovely dog.
Is he a Frenchie?
He's a Frenchie, yeah.
Yeah. Well, my cat will appear soon, because it always appears. Hates humans until we start talking on this, and then he'll appear in a minute. So yeah. So we're going to play this or that. Okay, Sam, do you want to go first? Do you want me to go first?
We'll go first today.
Okay, well, my first one is daffodils or crocus. So I was in the park this morning. I went for a run this morning, and little crocus were coming up around the tree. And then I've got these beautiful, so I thought daffodils or crocus, because it's a bit spring.
All right.
Go on, Sam, you answer first.
Okay, so I love the colour of crocus, but they're generally quite small. So I like daffodils because they're a bit taller and bigger, and you can see them a bit more. But crocus are a beautiful colour. And we are Peter Lloyd. our garden design expert, award-winning, is put crocus.
Crocus, yeah.
There you go. What about you, Miguel?
I'd say daffodils, and I think it's great that we're doing this today because I have this thing working with affirmations and energy, and a coach that I work with, Denise, and I have something called the Yellow Tuesday, and it's been a real like coping mechanism for me over the last 7 to 8 years that I gravitate towards. So it's amazing that you've mentioned this today, and obviously I radiate and reflect and gravitate to the color yellow, with a lot of my coaching and stuff that I do. So yes, there we go. So
what's yellow now?
Yeah, it'll all start appearing. Trust me, all the yellow will arrive. So yeah, it's great that it's a Tuesday and you've mentioned that. So yeah,
That's interesting.
yeah, it's a real coping mechanism for me, which is great from some coaching work that we done many years ago.
We'll find out a little bit more about that as well. I'm dead excited about that bit as well. I'm going to go crocus. I love daffodils, but crocus, just the colours in them are beautiful. And I always think, it's like bright blue skies and a little bit cold. That reminds, and that's what one of my favourite days, in bright blue sunshine skies. Okay, go on, San, you'll go.
Okay. Modern dance, modern or jazz specifically as different genres. Miguel.
Oh, so you're talking about modern as in technical modern, or modern as commercial world, or modern as in modern dance?
I've opened a can of worms. Clearly about something I know nothing about.
Well, no, because if you describe modern dance in technical terms, so you're not talking about it as a commercial realm, or then you're talking about jazz. So I would probably say jazz. I'm very much for self-taught and taking inspiration from all them genres.
Yeah.
So, and make a fusion of all of it. But I would say jazz, if you're asking me. Okay. Yeah.
I clearly don't know what I've asked. Okay, right.
Jazz for me.
Well, I don't know, because I don't know. I'd clearly.
What did you have in your head when you asked the question?
Doing your own choreography and your own thing, going any way you like for modern, which is obviously quite ignorant now thinking about it. You tell I haven't done dance, Helen has, I'm clueless. Jazz being that specific prescriptive genre.
Okay, so I would revert back then, and I would say modern, because I would.
Yeah, if you going to say that. Yeah. How creative you are as a choreographer.
Yeah, so absolutely. So if you're talking about modern in that way, in the world of where dance sits now, we would kind of call that commercial of where we are. Okay. So I would say that modern then, if you were looking at it, then absolutely, I suppose all forms of dance, but I don't feel and connect with when it comes from a textbook. I'll support it and appreciate it, but I would never deliver, in that way.
Creative art, yeah.
Yeah, it needs to come from the soul for me.
Okay, brilliant.
Cool, well done. Okay, my next one is crazy golf. So we went to Junkyard Golf on Saturday, and it was hilarious. It was amazing. So would you rather go and do a crazy golf, Junkyard Golf, or 10-pin bowling? Miguel.
Oh God! So both of them things aren't things that I normally do. So some people will go on a date and they'll go crazy golfing, or when you go on holiday, the crazy golf's there. And also where I'm teaching in MYA in Knowsley right now, they've got a what's the other one you've just said?
Bowling.
Oh, 10-pin, but sorry, I was thinking something else. Okay, so I would 100% say 10-pin bowling then, if it was for me. Yeah, I would. But you won't normally find me doing any of those activities, really. But yeah, I would say bowling. I suppose maybe it's taken.
So I love bowling and that, but I love crazy golf. Crazy golf's ace. I just absolutely love it.
So Junkyard Golf was I hate 10-pin bowling anyway, but Crazy Golf was hilarious, absolutely hilarious, and they've done it really well in Junkyard Golf. It's done really well. There's like 3 different courses you can go on and stuff. So they've done, and the staff will love it. Everything about it was just like dead good. So I'd go Crazy Golf. Yeah. Okay, go on, San. Your last one.
Okay, so my next one is cream cakes or chippy tea.
Oh, mate.
Forever. Keep one and lose the other. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Hands down.
Which? Cream cake.
Yeah, hands down cake.
Oh, I don't know. I don't know because I'm a foodie. Like I eat so much, and both of them things would satisfy me. I adore cake, and then I think, when you've got that real hunger and you just want to eat, then you have a chippy tea. Like I'd have to have them both together. Do we have to decide?
You'd have to have them both together. That's all the time. Okay. You have to pick one, really.
Okay.
You can't. I wouldn't be cruel. If it was to see, I like a chippy tea from time to time, but if it was frequency, I'd keep the cake, even though I quite like, because I don't have I wouldn't have a chippy tea every week, but I'd like a little cake once a week. Defo.
Okay.
Every day.
Yeah. I was every day.
Every day, you'd die.
Oh, I could, yeah.
You're going to heart failure.
I could have it every day. Both. I could have both.
Yeah, I could too. For me, breakfast.
But I'll say cake then.
All right.
Cake. Okay.
Well done.
My last one. Walking on the beach with no socks on, or walking up a mountain wrapped up in like a big scarf, but amazing blue skies on. So it's not about sunshine. So it'd be a cold, crisp day. Would you rather be on the beach in like your bare feet, or would you rather be up a mountain? So not to do with sunbathing, it's to do with like the crisp and the texture under your feet. Miguel.
Beach then. Yeah. I mean, I love the crisp air. I really do. And you were like really pulling me in. But then we started talking about like the bare feet, and I love just staring out to the ocean.
What about you, San?
Beach. I love mountains. Very nice, beautiful. Love Switzerland. Was an au pair in the Alps. Fantastic. Like visiting Wales. Hurrah. Beach. So if it's one or the other, it's the beach. It's got to be.
So up a mountain for me. 100%. Yeah. Go on, San. Your very last one.
Okay, then. I got confused. I thought I'd had my last one.
No, sorry. I went first, didn't I?
Okay, then. Liverpool or London? Miguel.
I would say Liverpool, and I think even more so that I've been coming home of late, and for many years I've had the opportunity to either relocate the business to London or go there, and I love going to work there and doing projects and things, and I love going for meetings in London, but I love Liverpool, and I haven't really been in the city top heavy for about 4 or 5 years. And the last week or two, I've been there every day, and it's just been lovely and reminded me how much I love it and why. So I would say Liverpool.
Yeah.
I love London. I love the hustle and bustle. Not a lot of people do. I love the hustle and bustle and jumping off the tubes and all that thing. But I just don't think you can beat Liverpool.
Yeah.
Same for you, Sam.
Yeah. I love London to visit. I really do. And I know London quite. I lived there for 6 years nearly. I know London very well, and I like it to visit, but not to live at all. I think I get completely what you say, Miguel. And I moved back here from over the water about 3.5 years ago, nearly now. And I love it. I'm just so much happier here. Nothing against living in Wirral. I've got some nice friends. But I'm so much happier in Liverpool. I can't tell you. I just love it. And I think if you're from it, and like you say, you come back and you're like, oh, yes, have come home, you feel that. So yeah, fantastic.
So there we go. That's all this or that. I'm going to hand it over to Sandra to introduce Miguel. And then it's over to you.
So I've known Miguel for some time now through work with the ADHD Foundation and being at different events together and things like that. And I found the work you've done very, very inspirational. And you're a social entrepreneur, and it's all about the value you're putting back into the community through the you use the medium of dance, shall we say, to inspire. But I'm going to let you speak about that. But you've had to change things slightly, haven't you, because of circumstances, but you've got some exciting, cool things happening. So if you'd like to update us on your journey and explain, some people wouldn't have heard the last time you were on because it was so long ago, but also things have changed. So it's just over to you, really. As you know, Helen and I are going to interrupt at the same time, probably with the same questions.
Okay.
You take it away.
Yeah, so I'll try and keep it short. So I set out officially on my entrepreneur journey 22 years ago. I did do some stuff when I was 17, but when I was 22, I set up what was known as MD Productions, and we went about that for 18 years, and then went to St. Helens and became MD Creatives as part of an expansion. And everything was going great. And then COVID came and kind of in COVID, we were able to adapt and the business was scaling up, and I formed a new partnership. We went from 1 building to 3 buildings, from 4 staff to 40 staff, an influx of students. I suppose whatever could have gone wrong went wrong, in that time. And I think I was in denial for quite a bit. We didn't know how to manage COVID, there was so many stop-starts, and I was chasing either the next contract or waiting for something to start. And we were doing lots of training for free with young people, hoping that the contracts we had would start, but everything was delayed with COVID. And in the middle of this, I took a theatre, and with the hope that would open, but that was one of the last industries to open in COVID. So any type of reserves and investment and everything that we had was just gone, and by the time it was able to open as a theatre, I was on the floor. And in the middle of that, we took on another building to create what was going to be known as the Resource Centre. I had this amazing idea of bringing a multi-agency approach to service the community. I could see such a disconnect between services and young people, and people were doing great work, but it was just so spread out. And I wanted to bring it all under one roof in the town centre of St. Helens. And as I said, with a cafe in there and different things that were going to happen, so many different services, and it was just anything, as I say, that could go wrong, went wrong. The scale up was far too big, no infrastructure in place. We lost so many different contracts, and we're battling against COVID as well as so many other things. And as the business owner, I had to take full responsibility for that. There was different investors in part of it. Partnerships changed along the way. We're chasing funding, chasing investment, chasing, the start of a contract, trying to complete on a contract that we couldn't complete on because of COVID. There was just so many hurdles, when really, reflecting back, I should have just stopped when COVID came. Realistically, I should have stopped and started September just gone, when the world was fully open. I should have stayed in the 1 building that I had in St. Helens. We shouldn't have grew to a 2nd and 3rd building. I shouldn't have took a theatre on. We shouldn't have been delivering training with no funding. But the young people were signed up and they were in there, and I felt a sense of responsibility and a duty of care. And we were also delivering in the community. And the results, what we were seeing, were incredible. But as a financial case, and my own well-being was all just dying, around me. And it was just ultimate,
don't be so hard on yourself, because as you said, you are a social entrepreneur. The reason you do what you do is to enhance others' lives, but you do it through something you're passionate about. So we actually did something. We launched a business a few months, Helen and I have a business together as well as our own. And we went out with Lou, and we went into schools and who would let us, and we did things for free, because we thought, well, people need to see it, they need to access it. And we knew we weren't getting paid. And I think what happens is, when you're self-employed, when you work for yourself, or you have something great and you're passionate about the impact you make on others, you want to just keep doing what you do. And if you're entrepreneurial, you find a way to do that. And that says a lot about the caliber of person you are. It's not about the money. You still delivered training to those young people because you knew they needed it. So you can look back with a reflection and beat yourself up over it. But actually, none of us in a million years could have ever comprehended what A, happened, B, what I thought it was a fortnight when they announced it. And I live with said to me, Sandra, this isn't going to be for 2 weeks. And I was going, no, they've just said 2 weeks, 3 weeks. I just couldn't accept it. And I think if you're you're someone who works really hard, you're passionate, used to generating your own income, etc., it really was quite shocking. And a lot of people in business who we know, they're still like, everyone I speak to, they're like, what happened?
Yeah.
And so many.
I think I genuinely thought, it was going to work. And I think how I've been able to make peace with it was obviously, we did provide a service in that, a fully funded social worker to come on board. I brought the ADHD Foundation in to do wraparound therapy, hoping, stuff that we were promised or was in the pipeline, or if we'd have achieved something, would have all come good. And it was just, everything just wasn't, and then I was like, oh, if I can just do another month of this and engage here and that, and then before I knew it, it was just swamped, But, many people who I've spoke to, since have been like, but where would have them young people have gone? It's come at a heavy cost of, the service we tried to provide in that time. There's been a lot of loss of investment and, contracts not fulfilled. But there's some young people, who still are around me, who will work with you, and extremely grateful, for what we did do during that time, and they are still with us. So that, I suppose that's been a way of me going, well, okay, but I think reflecting back, we shouldn't have grown. I shouldn't have brought partners in. Absolutely not. And I should have waited, till the government gave the all clear, and especially when I knew we couldn't draw down the funding that we were expecting to, because obviously everything was being changed. Funding was being ring fenced or put somewhere else, or you had to deliver something else. So things were changing, and then we weren't able to deliver what we were delivering at a standard because it was just all breaking down. So, in reflection, I should have just done some self-development work and, waited. But who knew?
But if you think of like the journey, so I'm 100% with you. I'd have carried on massively 100% because and you understand the difference that you're making to those young people is worth more than any investment in any partnership. And if the people who were giving the money out saw the work that you were doing and saw the benefits that these young people get, they'd give you even more money. And you keep on thinking, I'm going to get it.
Yeah.
But I think it's massive self-development by sitting and reflecting on it. So
absolutely,
sitting there and going like, yeah, this is what's happened, and yes, I'd change it. And hindsight's an amazing thing, isn't it? It's taking those learnings and what we've just been through and then move. I thought COVID was going to be about 4 to 6 weeks. I think in January this year is the first time that people have started to move and businesses are opening up. So I think when lockdown stopped and everybody was out, I think for certain people, I genuinely think this January 2023 was the first time that people are starting to come out. And businesses are open up to each other.
And we'd looked at it, one of the positives to come out of it, I was working with some other organisations and we got a social value report done. And in that time, on minimal funding, we delivered over £3 million worth of social value work across St Helens, in that period of time. And I was like, no wonder I was exhausted, when we looked at the amount of therapeutic intervention, support, space that we'd gifted, hours of work, intervention. It's only when you start listing it and professionals look at it. And I was like, how? Because when you're in the middle of it, you just don't see. And for that, I'm really proud that we were able to do that, and sustain it at that time.
And so moving forward now then, so you've got some new things going on, haven't you?
So I'm working right now. I'm I've set up as my own creative freelance practitioner. I've gone back to my roots. I'm very much connected with dance again. I've always loved dance, but you know, I done another interview the other week, and you talk about how we fall like in and out of love with it, and it's like anything, you know, but through what has happened, it's made me really like reconnect with it and why I do it, and especially working with the young people and seeing like the transferable skills. So right now I'm working freelance for a number of different organizations while I'm on my own self-development journey, improving myself as a practitioner, and also spending some time on reflecting on what's just happened, you know, over the last couple of years. How do I repair that, learn from it? Lots of self-healing, accountability, you know, for what has happened in this time, and then looking, okay, so when I am ready, how do I, you know, rebuild an enterprise? You know, I'm always going to be a social entrepreneur. That's what I do. And it's just, what's been good is being able to go and work on other people's projects. I've been looking at a lot of stuff around equality and diversity, and it's been brilliant, and using dance and creativity for that. So yeah, that's kind of where I am. It's like I've gone back to the roots, and talking about like today, one of the first things I ever done was support the Roy Castle Foundation when I was 17, and today we had a meeting, and it was nice, you know, to go full circle back to what was important. And I think when the business was growing so much, I became a strategic office person, and as much as I want to understand what's going on, I want to be frontline and centre and out there and delivery and connecting with the community and like detach work and being in the sessions. I don't want to be shouting from my office like, are you having a great rehearsal? Have you choreographed that dance? Like, I need to be in the thick of it. And I'd say for 2 years, you know, I just wasn't that. You know, I was looking at the growth of what we were doing and managing a team, and it's not where my heart and soul is. I need to be with the people who I'm working with, not, you know, letting other people deliver as much as some people done a great job with delivery. You know, that's my heart. That's where I am and where I thrive, and why I made the business was so I could go and do them things, not be in an office and, you know, the kids not see me. Absolutely not.
And it's quite draining as well. Helen has an expression. Helen always says, you can't pour from an empty cup. You've got to look after yourself first so you can do. And I was talking to someone last week, funny enough, and he was saying, you know, as you know, on the aircraft, they say put your own oxygen mask on first, because if you don't have the oxygen, you can't help everyone around you, you know. And it's that if you're doing everything that's draining you, it's not where your heart is, you know, it has a knock-on effect.
Absolutely. And that's what happened to me. You know, my whole well-being took a dip, and I have to start saying, practice what you preach, because I'm forever telling everyone else to do this. And I was just in a mess. I developed this whole rash up. It was on my body first, but then it came up onto my face with the stress of it. And I was like, I need to take some time out. Like, but you just couldn't see the wood for the trees, and was just trying to like chip through it and move forward until the end. I was just a mess. I think between like April and August of last year was like at zero function. Like, I don't even, now when I look back, I'm like, how did I even do that? You know?
I think most of us have had times like that at some point. You know?
And
sorry, go on.
It's really important to talk about it. You know, I've been very vocal, you know, on social media about this, because it's all right me saying like, I've been on Britain's Got Talent 3 times and I've worked with this artist and all of that, but the reality of it is it's hard having your own business, you know, and no qualification or course will teach you the resilience you need to have a thick skin and push forward. It's only through these challenges. So I've just felt like it's been really important that, you know, if I'm going to go and speak to people or, you know, do some public speaking, deliver a workshop, that I can't just have this great show reel of like 3-time semi-finalist on Britain's Got Talent and, you know, we're all, it's not the case. You know, you have to talk about the dark side of what is happening, you know.
Massively. I think what you're saying is like everything that, so I feel everything that you're saying massively, because you go and you deliver something, and Sandra, you're a bit the same with your languages. You go and you deliver and you teach, and
I love it.
receive the energy from the students that you're in and you absolutely love it. And so you think, well, if there's like 10 of me, imagine what else we could do. So I'll start something and I'll get 10 of me's and then we'll be able to deliver. So instead of delivering to 10 people, we can now deliver to 100. And that's amazing. And what happens is you're an expert in your own field, so you're an expert in delivering and teaching. Because we love it and it's our baby, we don't want somebody to come in who loves being in the office. And that's what you need to do. You need to find some like lovely office person who loves that, who would probably be the same with us going, oh my God, imagine going out and delivering, I'd feel sick. Get them in the office and you can then still shine and you know, be a little bit in touch. But when you do own your own business, you have to do a little bit of everything. But it is about finding other people. I think it might be Richard Branson, and he says, find somebody who's better than you to do the job.
Absolutely, yeah.
And I think that's the thing when you've got your own business and, you know, you're relying on funding and things like that. And you think, well, I could pay this person to do the office, but I could make more of an impact with that money if we were out in the community. You could probably make more of an impact on hiring somebody in the office so that you'd have yourself out in the community doing all
absolutely.
That stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, definitely. I would say I'd do what I do if I won the lottery, hands down.
It's 1,000,000% the same. It would just give me freedom to be able to do what I want to do.
Yeah, 100%. It takes the pressure off, doesn't it? So moving forward then, so now you're back delivering, which is your favourite thing that you love doing. What sort of things are you delivering?
So it's all around, you know, entrepreneurship, equality and diversity, building resilience, different projects, you know, finding, you know, what is the why with people, you know, and what they want to do. And again, all through dance and other creative sessions. So between schools, I'm working for Merseyside Youth Association in Knowsley at the minute. I'm back in Netherley, in the place that I grew up, working with New Horizons. Kelly on a project there. I'm teaching dance in Newton. I'm just about to gift some of my time to St. Helens because it has a special place in my heart. So on a Tuesday evening, I'm going to be delivering some community dance out to the YMCA to make sure that service is still accessible for everyone. And a number of different schools. And then, as I say, my own self-development, and then I'm working with a number of different boards and projects, and again just looking at, you know, what do we want to do next, but also taking the time to reflect. And I'm enjoying working for other organizations that I don't have to manage the team, or I don't make them decisions. I can just, like for instance with MYA, we went to watch Matilda, and as much as I would always have my safeguard and hat on, you know, because we're working with young people, they booked the coach, they done the consent forms, you know, they looked at who had what allergies, what needed to be done. They booked the time of the film, and I was able to go and watch the movie with the kids and then take inspiration. And we all went for food to Nando's afterwards, and we could gab, and there was other youth workers doing the other bit. And obviously the managers of that project were doing the bit that I was trying to do all of, when really I just wanted to work with the young people and find out what they wanted to achieve. So I'm loving that at the minute, is that I'm able to do that, and it's right across the city region that I'm working on different stuff. So it's great. And then I'm just getting back into writing. Like, I've been so far from the creative world because it's been about the business and then survival. I just lost what I started this out for. So my first theatre show I ever done was in the Epstein, which was the Neptune Theatre. So it was amazing that Now Festival has just been held in the Epstein. I've just got to spend 3 days there. And it got me into the thing of writing and thinking about shows again, which is all what I started to do. I used to do some great work with the Palm House, and we've just reconnected on a festival that we used to have. So it's just being nice to be able to deliver on people's contracts, get creative again, you know, spend some time writing and choreographing because I want to. So that, and I'm loving just seeing the young people develop at the minute.
And you know what, Miguel? What's gone before hasn't gone. That's experience in your life. You know, you still did that. You still went out to Abu Dhabi for the Grand Prix and everything. You know, you still did those things, etc. Amazing gigs, and gave kids opportunities who never in a million years would have got out to do something like that. You know, and that still happened, and that experience hasn't gone. You still got that skill set, and the most successful business people in the world they have had failure after failure, as they say, because you have to do that.
Of course, yeah.
Growth in business, isn't it? Things have to go wrong for you to learn and move forward. Richard Branson's, his first business, he was 15, he bred budgies, they died. He said he learned that was, don't have perishable stock. That was his first lesson. And then he moved forward, and everyone's had a failure who's successful, everybody. So, you just need to cut yourself some slack and just realise how amazing you are and what you bring to the table.
Definitely, 100%. So you talked about like working on yourself and personal development and things like that. What sort of things are you doing?
Okay, so something that I've probably kept in the background for many years. I never really spoke openly about it. I do lots of stuff on equality and diversity, but my own reflection. So obviously 2 things that I identify, is a person of colour. I'm a black male, but I'm a gay male, and in them 2 worlds do not collide. They don't come together. If you look, the world is moving on, but if you look at cultural differences, I might want to go to a certain place on holiday, and the LGBT community isn't accepted, and I might want to. I've always wore like baggy jeans and a cap and who I am, but mostly like in hip hop culture, the LGBT community wasn't accepted, and I'd be listening to certain types of music. So both of the things that I love and represent are at a conflict with each other, and I suppose I've known that and not really addressed it in that sense. So I've been looking for, and I'm an open book. I'm accepting to all people. My dog's barking. Accepting to all people, ages, races, religions. I feel like we should be one. I do think there's a lot of labels at the moment, and I feel like it's gone too far. We should just be people. But if I look at myself and who I am, and if people go, okay, so clearly he's black and clearly he's gay, so they're the things that are me. So I've been trying to look at, well, who have been those leaders and out there and people who've done things, and there's been so many leaders who have been hushed and pushed out the way that have not been recognized for the work they've done, either because of the color or the skin or their sexuality. So I'm really trying to develop dance and who I am from that inspiration right now, and I've been doing lots of research around who is that, and where, how is the fusion, and who else is facing this, and what do we want to do about it?
And it's like, though, people need to feel okay to do what they want to do. Like, it's very prescriptive, isn't it, when people say, oh, well, you're this, so you can't like that. Or that hip hop culture that's not for gay people. Who's anyone to say that? You listen to
you even look at food, obviously, it can come with its challenges. So if historically, if a gay male wanted to go into a Caribbean restaurant, but that would be frowned upon. It's not that I've ever come across that. I've always been welcomed where I've gone, but if you look at the broader spectrum of it, the 2 things have not mixed, whereas it's food and it's culture. So just trying to delve into that and get an understanding and look at the challenges that were there and are there, and how my identity conflicts each other.
Well, it's like, also as well, some young people, it's really good to have a role model to them, because there might be a young person who's maybe black, who might be aware they're gay, but not put that out there yet. And them to say, oh, that's okay, that's person's
absolutely,
identify with that, or what have you, but I just feel it's like that with anything. It's like, I like the Blackpool Lights, I like classical Italian opera, I like going to see live bands with people and music and stuff, and I just like all different aspects of culture. And I don't think people say, oh, it's got to be highbrow, or it's that's this, or I just think you should be able to access and do whatever you want to do. That's as adults, a lot of young people don't do that. They want to fit in, and they don't have the courage yet to do whatever they want to do. So if they have got role models, or people who get it, or people who teach them that and put that out there, I think that's really powerful.
Yeah.
Definitely, it's sharing those experiences, isn't it, and of acceptance and things. And I was talking to somebody last week, and they were saying you only know what you know. So you only know what you know. So basically, you know, they were talking about somebody who lived on Cantrell Farm, who loved sports, was a bit naughty in school, loved sports, and they took this young person, and they'd never been to like Woolton before, and they went to school in Woolton. And then from there, they then went to school and they did a little bit of work in Wales, in North Wales. And then from there, they went to Ireland. And now they're age 20 and they've taught in Sri Lanka, Qatar, France, London, Ireland, and somewhere else. And they were saying they didn't know, that young person didn't know what they didn't know. So in their mind, they knew like what they'd lived and didn't realize that there's this big Qatar, and then they didn't realize there's this like big massive world out there. And I think it really resonated with me, and I thought we need to be encouraging young people to try absolutely everything, be accepting of absolutely everything, and then you're more of a rounded person, aren't you? And you know, and I'm very like you, Miguel, you're a human being, that's it. You know, you're just a person. You know,
I think what got me thinking about it was Pride Month, and we were getting ready for St. Helens Pride, but also we were working on the amazing project for the World Reimagined, you know, the Globe project.
Yeah.
And it was where we were looking at both of those things, two completely different projects, and that's what really opened my mind to it when we were experimenting around this World Reimagined with the Globe. But it was also Pride Month, and we were doing the research around, and that's how it kind of came together. So I was speaking to the different groups about this, and that's kind of what really brought it to light.
Brilliant.
Amazing. So with what plans have you got around it, or are they a bit hush hush?
No, so I'm doing some research, as I say, on myself, and I'm developing, and I'm asking myself why. I'm looking at different lectures, stuff online, you know, different workshops that I can attend. But also being in it, when I say in a creative space, I actually now choreograph at home because I don't have a studio. Yeah. So kind of when I'm in that space is using that as a stimulus of the choreography. And where it's coming from. So obviously people, you know, can dance the choreography for their own voice of what they want to say. It could be anything around a disability, confidence, you know, sexuality, freedom of expression. But the basis of the choreography will then come from their internal feelings and struggles or stuff with that they want to give a voice. So that's kind of what I'm working on. So the next pieces of work that come out will be inspired from that.
Amazing. I love that. What's your biggest transformation that you've seen?
In terms of
like when you've been teaching your young people,
oh God,
who's been like your hardest, who've been your most challenging group, but who have had the most transformation?
Yeah, so you know, it's a lot. There's been a lot of groups that you've worked with that are challenging, but I find when they come into the space with those challenges are removed because it's a safe space for them. But in terms of transformation, there is a number of people who've come to me not for dance classes. They may have come for mentor, and they may have come for drama. They may have come for singing. There was never an interest in dance, and actually they've become some of my strongest dancers. And I think, like, if we never had them sessions, like some of them have given one-to-one to, if this had never happened, what would have happened with that dance? And I think as well, because I'm fully loving dance right now, is reflecting on that and seeing some of these people who I'm currently working with, you know, who, as I say, didn't come to me for dance, and actually they're incredible. They're not just like a good dancers, or you think, oh, they've learned dance. They're incredible. Like, they're so strong, and I'm like, you've not done this before. Like, it's just, and when you see that journey, so that, but also what taking that away from dance is when you see someone grow in their confidence, you know, someone who, you know, has struggled to engage in sessions, and then they're standing up and doing a presentation. You know, it's just unbelievable, especially some of the projects that some of them have just come to either a half-term end or they've had a show, and seeing that work come to life. They've choreographed their own pieces. Some of them in the room didn't know each other before, and these friendships have been made. So that's why I'm in this industry. You know, it's so rewarding for those things that you see. So there has been massive transformations, you know, in a number of different areas, and that's great to see. I couldn't just name one.
I know what you're saying, that what had happened and everything, but you know, when you're speaking now, you sound really excited and passionate, you know, about where things are going. And what opportunity there. You're going to be meeting new people, connecting with old people you've worked with previously. And I just think, although it's been quite a shock and everything, and it didn't go the way you wanted it to go, I think moving forward, it sounds really, really positive.
Yeah, I think I've been able to dive into, because I've took accountability for what happened, you know, regardless of, you know, who you could pass the buck to or do whatever, or say this didn't happen or that went wrong. But ultimately I was the business owner. So for me, it stops there, you know, and that there's no point getting into a slang match or social media or battles with this one. Whoever wins that. So for me, you know, it was my organisation, regardless of having a partnership, staff, or whatever else. So, you know, so I've had to just say, you know, I take full accountability. So there's nothing else to say or do. You know, it sits with me. I'll deal with it. And at the same point, I'll rebuild and move forward. So I think that's enabled me to, you know, move forward and just getting into debates of what are not needed.
Yeah, and your reputation and all the work that you've done in the past will always stand you in good stead. Everybody knows, you know, what they're going to accept, what the delivery is going to be like. They're going to have an amazing time and stuff like that. So all of that will just move forward. And I think people will look and they'll stop and they'll say, you know, he didn't get into a slang and match and he took responsibility and, you know, accountability and started again and stuff. And I think that's a massive, like, pat on the back to you, where people will go, oh, yeah, you know, he's a good, you know, he will deliver on what he says. So moving forward, when you're ready, yeah, people will look and they'll go, yeah, you know, before you said, you've got to practice what you preach, and I think people will look and think, well, he does, you know. So yeah, amazing.
In your favour massively is, for me personally, you've always been a really humble person, and no matter what success you were having and what you were achieving, you had time to talk to people, and you were always very, very humble about everything. So I think you'll only be regarded in such high esteem. And, you know, some people, when they do well, they're not the same.
Yeah, thanks for that. I really appreciate it. It's important to me. I have a saying about giving people 5 minutes of your time. You know, you should listen to, because someone listened to me. You know, I always go back to Jill in the job centre at Belle Vale when I was unemployed 23 years ago, and she listened. You know, so have some other people, but I always reference to Jill. You know, and she could have said to me, get a real job, you know, and do whatever, and she listened. So it's always stuck with me, you know, that someone and many others have given me that time. You know, they've given me more than 5 minutes, you know, that people have given me hours of the time. And so I just think it's important, you know, that you and you quickly, as you can learn, you can be riding a wave of success, but you can soon come crashing down to the ground. So it's important to connect with all people. You know, you can't let your success go before you, because it can end in an instant.
Yeah, definitely. Amazing. And we wish you all the massive luck, and we know that you're going to succeed in everything that you possibly do.
Thank you.
Well done to Jill as well. We're going to give her a shout out when it gets to grown up. So red face moments. Have you got any red faces this week, Sam?
I thought of one, and it's completely, and I've been writing them down so I don't forget for the show, and it's gone out the window. Have you?
No, because I've had a couple of belters, haven't I, in the past week?
Yeah. Well, me too. I had a massive one, hadn't I?
Well, I don't think.
What about you, Miguel? Have you got anything you can share?
Meaning, what do you mean?
Slightly embarrassing. People can laugh along with you, not at you.
Oh God! So we were talking about this in one of the schools that we were working in, and it ended up getting into a huge conversation with people who I'd been working with. But there's nothing I can say of this week. No, I'm trying to think off the top of my head.
Oh, you can just share one with us if you've got a classic.
I can't remember what I said to them. I mean, I'd embarrass them from the past. Would be so I'm not good at like sports in general, like football or anything like that. So, but I remember my cousin gave me a pair of football boots as a kid, and for some reason the school put me in a goal as the goalie, and my family come to watch, and I just massively missed the ball, fell on the floor, and let's just say I've never played football ever since. It's just not my skill set, but that really sticks in my mind of like, okay, so here I am, I'm playing football, my cousin Stephen had given me football boots, everyone come to watch me, and like the game was destroyed because I slipped in catching it. So yeah, I would just say that.
Amazing. You know, I'm good, Stan. So we're going to shout out to the grown-ups, any grown-ups who've been amazing this week. I'm going to give a shout out to our Chloe because it's her birthday today. It's Valentine's Day, but it's also her birthday. So big shout out to our Chloe.
Okay.
What about you, San?
I'm giving a shout out to Jean. Jean was the volunteer who said, "Oh no, don't take a photo." Jean was the volunteer at the university today at the Victoria Museum, which is the big red brick building. And ours is the original brick building. And she had, honestly, I learned so much. And I think I know quite a lot about the architecture of the city. It was so interesting. And I didn't know this, but the architect there is the guy who also designed the Natural History Museum. So Jean was so informative, and she tailored the talk to the people. And because I had someone who English wasn't the first language, they're learning English, but she spoke slowly and I said to her, "Oh, can you understand?" And she said, "Yes, she's speaking so clearly for me." So she was just amazing, so professional, and just working as a volunteer, not a penny for it. And she does it. They're on a rota. She does usually at most weeks. And I thought, amazing. So I said, I'm going to give you a shout out tonight on 16.
Amazing. Volunteers are amazing. Some people that, you know, who volunteer, they really are the lifeblood. They just do amazing things. What about you, Miguel? Who are you going to shout out to?
Okay, so I was saying adults, you know, I would give a shout out to my parents, sibling, and my partner. But if we want to go outside of that, an amazing gentleman has been supporting me. So Paul Cisse, who's responsible for the Diversity Awards.
Oh, yeah.
And I just had an incredible conversation. You know, he gave me, talking about someone giving you some of your time. He really gave me some of his time last week, and it was the conversation wasn't supposed to be like this, and it was so he kind of lit a fire in me again, and he didn't need to do that. You know, some of the stuff that he was saying and how he'd give up his time, the meeting wasn't supposed to be about that. It was supposed to be about another project I want to work on, and it was just incredible. So I want to give a big shout out to Paul Cisse for that.
Fabulous.
And a shout out to your mum and dad and your partner, and
of course, yeah,
as well. So big shout out to all of them, because they've been a massive part of your past couple of months' journey, haven't they?
Absolutely, without a doubt.
Brilliant. Podcast book that you're listening to, either or something that you can like have a little shout out about. You got one, San?
I'm still listening to. It's honest to God, I've been telling everyone to get onto this one. I'm still listening to the one that Dominic said to me, and I'm up to Willpower Doesn't Work. I keep saying I'm on chapter 12 on the audio. Willpower Doesn't Work by Benjamin Hardy, and it's like it's nothing to do with that. It's the title's quite off-putting. It's just a brilliant part. All areas of your life. It's so interesting and very, very, very motivational.
Oh. Yeah. I think I might download that because I've just got my Audible thing through.
Yeah, and it's like what I do, you know, making change it. But I'm not someone who can change instantly on something. I'm bit by bit. And about the benefit, gradual change will make an effort and just start, you know, be one foot in front of the other every day. It's been absolutely brilliant and inspiring. It's a really, really good book. I would just recommend it to everyone.
Amazing.
So
okay, I'm going to get on that then. And what about you, Miguel? Are you listening to a podcast or reading a book?
It's so bizarre that you should say this because I'm in a battle at the minute. So I struggle with reading, and I always have. Like, it's not my strength at all. And some friends have been saying about audiobooks. So if I read a book, it's probably the most a page I read a night or every other night. So I've been battling with, should I get audiobooks? And my friends have been saying it, but I've been like, oh my God, like I need to I wouldn't be defeated by it. Like I was like, I need to just read them. But actually, I love listening. So when I listen to affirmations, stuff when I'm in the car, like that's, I listen to music, like that's, it would work so much better for me. So I've had to swallow a little bit of pride, and I've been talking to some friends, and it's like, okay. So there is a book. I've been following this choreographer for ages. Called Vincent Patterson, and he has a book called Icons and Instincts. He's been a huge part of Michael Jackson's journey, Madonna, all the people who I hugely admire. Yeah. So I reached out to him on social media and messaged him and said, look, I'm a huge fan of your work. I struggle with reading, and I need to know if your book is, where could I get it as audio? And I explained the situation. So luckily, he come back to me and he explained where the book was audio, but he also really reassured me on how the book is an easy read, and because it's something that I'm interested in, I might gravitate to it, and also listen to your audio book while you are reading it. So I'm just about to order his book and start studying it around the work. So it's so funny that you should mention this, because I've been in a conflict that I've been reading, trying to read books, and it just bores me. You know, I just don't, but I'm like, oh, but it's not going to improve my reading if I go to an audiobook. But actually, we live in a modern world and they're available for a reason. So I am going to also look for some books that I will have as audiobooks, because I'm going to get so much more out of it, you know, whether I'm on a jog, I'm in the car, like in bed, like it will just be so, I enjoy things like on YouTube or watching or listening to music. It's so much more my style of learning than sitting there with a book. It just doesn't interest me, but I want to know what is, I want to learn and be upskilled. So yeah, it's been a bit of an internal struggle. So I'm so glad you two were like, so I've just found this audio book, and I'm like, oh my God, okay, yeah. So
even me, I do when I do jobs in the house on a Sunday.
Yeah,
I'll put the audio, but it's just great.
It's part of my own struggles. You know, I used to have a real issue with people in suits, and I wouldn't wear one. And today I had a suit on. You know, it's part of the same with reading. I just wouldn't let it go, because I was like, well, I'll read. You know, it's part of your own things that you have to deal with. Again, when we've been talking about self-reflection, so I'm like, okay, so it's okay to listen to an audiobook. You don't have to read the book to get the knowledge.
Oh yeah, it's like me with gymnastics. I won't do a forward row. So yeah, I get that.
I'm back on the High Performance podcast because I just love it. It's just my favourite thing. So I'm back on that. And the guy who started Huel is amazing. When I was listening to his thing, I got loads of nuggets out of that. But we've come to an end. So I think we're going to talk to you forever, Miguel. And I want to thank you again for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
And we do always close with like a positive quote, a mantra, something that you live by that you can share with everybody.
Okay, so for me, I always say we all start as a blank canvas, and we can repaint that canvas at any time. So that's something that I create, I suppose, myself and what I go by. And then I suppose something that has always been out there is that, you know, especially in now scenario, is you're not starting from nothing, you're starting from experience. And I've really gravitated to that over the last couple of months, because I wouldn't have known what I know now, you know, and I most certainly won't make them mistakes again. But had I have not gone through what I've gone through, I wouldn't have known those things to have these conversations. Might I have made another mistake, or, you know, so yeah, I would say to people, you know, you're not starting from nothing, you're starting from experience.
Amazing. I love that. Well, thank you very much for coming on. Thank you to Sandra, and we'll see everybody next week. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.